I'm a firm believer that you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years, right? No matter what your goals, what your dreams are, right? You have to decide if you're willing to become the person that is going to go out and achieve those goals and those dreams. No matter what you want to do, you can do it. It's about having the discipline and truly understanding, if the goals and the life and the dreams that you're chasing, who you need to become and the discipline that you need to have in order to reach it.
All right. Hey, Bo, thank you very much for joining us. We have today a great guest. His name is Bo Faber, and he's the managing director at KW Commercial in Houston, in the Houston area. But he has lots of experience, not just working at KW Commercial, but also as an entrepreneur, and as an investor himself when he started his career. So, Bo, why don't you start telling us a little bit about yourself and how you've gotten to where you are and why you picked real estate?
Good morning, David. Thank you very much for having me. I got started in real estate around 2009, 2010. Um, Jumped in as an investor and started flipping residential properties. We flipped, I believe it was somewhere between 16 to 18 properties in a two-year period, and quickly learned that the emotional side of those deals wasn't something that I enjoyed very much. So knew I wanted to make a transition and really start moving in on the commercial side. So got licensed and joined KW Commercial and been doing that ever since.
Amazing. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys are working on and what is the niche that you're finding is working with this market?
So I specialize in office and industrial tenant rep. So I help people, identify lease spaces for their businesses and things of that nature. Also work on the sales side as well, helping investors identify income producing opportunities and buy and hold opportunities that fit their criteria. And we're really seeing, you know, on the investor side, on that investment side, the industrial flex sector is still performing very, very well. Um, the vacancy is falling. There's strong demand. It's the most attractive, I would say, on the investment side.
Hmm.
But the pricing discipline still matters, right? So
Hmm.
you still have to buy right. Got to cover all of your due diligence and things of that nature as well. Uh, Retail, vacancies tightening up as well. Rents are continuously going up. That sector has stabilized a little bit. Saw a tremendous downturn during the pandemic in that COVID-19 area, and things are starting to become a little bit more regular there. So it's very attractive for necessity-based and service retail. Um, if you can find a center that is focused on those, it could certainly be a very attractive asset.
Cool.
Multifamily and office, there's some things to look at hard there if you're wanting to invest in those areas. Um, there's still a strong demand. That demand is present in the multifamily sector. Uh, you know, the concessions and new supply remain, right? So there's still a lot of building and things of that nature. So we have people that are very selective in that value add opportunity with the cost of insurance and deferred maintenance and things of those natures. Those multifamily deals aren't as attractive as they once were. So that's kind of that whole sector's kind of repositioning right now. And same thing with office, with everybody kind of moving from work to home or work from home. We've seen a downturn in that. A lot of the Class A spaces are still doing well. People are, there's a lot of vacancy there, and we're seeing a lot of people graduate into those types of spaces.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yes, with the high interest rates, um, and just the liquidity in the market, right? Like I think a lot of liquidity has been sucked in by the AI boom. Everybody, it's just thinking that they're gonna be making two two figure digits returns, and it's gonna
Yeah,
continue forever. And so I think that's definitely taken a lot of the liquidity out of the real estate market. Have you noticed that?
I have. But with the rise and fall of the stock market and how volatile it is right now, I still see, real estate as a very safe play.
Mm,
Obviously, different sectors and it really plays back to what your investment goal is and what you're trying to achieve. And, if you can do that over the long haul, real estate is still very, very attractive.
yeah. No, and I think it's actually the best opportunity right now. Because everything has gone down. Interest rates are still pretty high compared to recently. And what the market is saying and what most um, investors that know different cycles are saying is that interest rates are going to fall. So then by itself, any commercial deal is going to appreciate just by having interest rates going down. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I really strongly urge my clients to not pay as much attention to that rate, right? You date
yeah,
the
yeah.
rate and you marry the deal, right?
Hmm.
Um, you know, historically, if you look year over year, the interest rates, over the last 30 to 40 years, we're still in line with how everything is supposed to go. So,
Hmm.
I mean, yes, were they getting better interest rates, 5 years ago? Of course, right? Though we really feel that this is the new norm, and if you're waiting for interest rates to go down to move, you strongly risk, and it's a strong risk that you can miss a good deal just based on that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, like what I'm saying is like if you find a deal that works with today's interest rates and it's cash
Absolutely.
flowing, and then you are in better position to get a better return moving forward. And then also because there's not a lot of demand, and so the prices that you can get today are a lot better than what you could get 5 years ago. So what they say is like you want to buy when it's low and sell when it's high. And when it was high, everybody wanted to buy, and when it's low, now nobody wants to buy. It's the same with the crypto market, right?
Right.
Like Bitcoin, not long ago was at 120, 126, and everybody was buying. We were like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And now that it's like 60, 70K that everybody wanted to buy at that time. And they were like, oh, it's already so expensive. I wish we were like buying when it was lower. Now nobody wants to buy, right? So it's a psychology of human behavior, unfortunately. So you have to know kind of like how to deal with your emotions and be smart on on investing, right? But I think like a lot of sophisticated investors, especially in real estate, commercial real estate, um, they know how to buy. So I'm guessing you're getting like whoever your buyers are right now are pretty sophisticated.
Yes, sir.
All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the dirt part of your business, right? Like what are like the challenges, something that you will want to know the audience to know, because everybody talks about the gold deals and like the success, but nobody talks really about what is the grunt work and like the challenges. So if you tell us some of that.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I always tell my clients that, there is a tremendous opportunity in commercial real estate, right? But you really have to, work with a seasoned broker and truly understand the due diligence side, because, overlooking one small aspect can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, working with someone that truly understands, right, what buying right looks like, right? And understanding how to navigate that due diligence period to make sure that all of your bases are covered on as a buyer, and really doing a deep dive and looking at that property's history and if it's an income producing property, right? We're gonna want estoppel certificates and really look at each individual lease to ensure that everything's set up the way it's supposed to be, so you don't have any surprises on the back end.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And what? Tell us a little bit about a story that you can remember, kind of like the worst experience and comeback story from you or one of your investors.
Yeah, so we had a 20,000 plus square foot warehouse that we had listed for sale. It was owned by deep diving, a deep sea, offshore diving company, right? So very specific type use. And, we had it listed for sale, had another um, broker in our group that brought the buyer. And, once we got into the due diligence period and into escrow, we found out there were a lot of breaks in the chain of title, right? There were two or three partners, all of them now deceased. And, instead of transferring ownership and, and equity inside of these properties, it was all handshake deals. And so we had a lot of we had to extend the contract numerous times to ensure that the chain of title was going to be correct, and that the seller actually was able to legally sell the property, right? So
Yeah,
that's the importance of not only working with an experienced broker, but having one that has a great professional team, right? That has a strong commercial escrow officer that understands everything that needs to happen on the title side, having a great commercial real estate attorney that understands all those in and outs and how to really protect you, not just in the purchase, but after the purchase as well. So, we were able to all come together and figure that one out and ultimately get it across the finish line.
nice. Yeah, that's one thing about real estate, right? It's just how creative you can get. You can solve pretty much any problem as long as you're buying right. If you get creative, so that's part of like why I love real estate, right? It's about connecting with people and being creative. Um,
Absolutely.
Now, have you seen um your clients or yourself using tokenization or having like Bitcoin reserves in their business?
And for a real estate purchase,
Right. Yeah. So tokenization, like if they are funding, like, if they're funding or raising funds to buy it, now there is these real world tokens, kind of like a Bitcoin, but like instead of Bitcoin being the reserve, they have the real estate is the asset that they're buying, so they can buy fractions of that investment. And so
yeah. So
tokenization is something in the industry that is starting to take a lot of force. Um, and they're using that to fund deals.
yes, I've heard of it. Actually been approached by buyers offering that,
Hmm.
though
Hmm.
ultimately, the sellers weren't. That wasn't something they were interested in.
Okay.
But I do see more and more of that, um, and see it becoming relevant in the future, right? So, as people learn more about these and how, excuse me, how fluid everything is and the longevity of it. Once that becomes more clear, I feel that that the adoption of that will become more prominent.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for the sellers, they probably just need to be a little bit more educated. But for the sellers, there's no difference, right? Like whoever the buyer is, it's just another way of raising money. Instead of going to the bank, they're just going straight um to the market, and so the sellers are gonna get paid dollars anyways.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just another way of raising capital and giving the retail buyers another way of investing in real estate assets for a much lower cost than you would have to be in a limited partner.
Yeah, and we're starting some, to some of these alternative methods of purchasing are really starting to show up. Currently working with a client who's a buyer and is only willing to transact on an API to API transaction. Okay, so that's something that's very new. It's
Hmm.
done a lot on the private side and private equity and things of that nature. Though we're starting to see it come into the more day-to-day things. So very interesting to see how that's going to play out and how it's adopted and things of that nature as well.
Agree. So how are you guys using AI? Is that transforming your business?
It is, and in addition to my role as managing director, I'm also a national coach and trainer for the company, and I coach 22 people one-on-one in their business and how to, really grow their business and hit their goals. And we've really leaned in hard on in AI and utilizing it inside of our business, not to so much replace activities that we were doing
Hmm.
inside of the business, but to really improve our productivity and the amount of time that we spend in certain activities inside of our businesses. Right. So, um, you know, as a tenant broker, my clients are really leaning in on AI and they want to take their letter of intent and run it through Chat GPT and like, this is what we have to do. And, while it's a great tool for information, right? You know, it's still learning, it's still growing. There's still hallucinations and things of that
Hmm.
nature. So, you have to be very mindful of the information that you receive from it, because it's not always 100% true. So, we're seeing, people submitting business plans and financials and things of that nature that have, very, it's very apparent that it was put together through an AI chat, agent or things of that nature. So, if you're going to utilize it in your business, I certainly see um, where it could be beneficial, though don't take it as something that replaces, you know, the human part of these types of transactions because it can jump up and bite you pretty quick.
Yeah, it's just how you use it. I mean, there is definitely a learning curve on how to use the potential of it because it really is very, I mean, it can transform your business and like make you a lot more efficient. Um, but you can't depend on it completely, right? Like you have to figure out how you utilize it as an employee, right? It's really like agents, for example, our employees uh, that are learning on the job. So you have to train them and you have to review what they're producing. But they're like really quick at producing everything that you want. And so like,
Absolutely. And, I'm a firm believer that, AI is not truly going to start replacing, um, certain positions in the workforce, right? Now, there are some that you can certainly lean in and do that, though,
mhm,
in our industry, again, I firmly believe that, it's not going to replace the commercial real estate broker, right? It's going to replace the brokers that aren't using it, right? So, we have to adapt and we have to lean in and learn and figure out how it's going to best serve us and being the very best for our clients.
agree. All right. And what are like some roadblocks and some pain points in your business currently uh, that you need to solve to in order to grow, or that you would like to solve?
Yeah, and the rising cost and expenses are really eye-opening right now. I've seen a lot of multifamily deals on a national level just floored because of insurance costs, right?
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
you know, learning how to that's all part of buying right is understanding your cost and your deferred maintenance and your expenses and the value add opportunity or you're able to come in and make improvements and elevate your rents, which in turn are going to elevate your net operating income, which makes it valuable. the property more valuable, right? So,
Hmm.
I think it's navigating those waters right now with the rising cost of insurance and things like that to um, really put the deals together and have them set up as win-wins for both sides. It's very difficult right now.
Yeah. And operationally, what it's a pain point or a roadblock?
Oh, inside of my business,
Yes.
for me, that's always going to be time, right? Is allocating my time to, really focus on the 20% that's going to grow my business, right? And
Hmm.
my money making activities. And, once your business gets past a certain point, right, you've got to scale it correctly that is going to allow you to continue to do the things that grow your business, right, and your income. So, um, finding that healthy balance of, you know, as a broker and business owner and being an entrepreneur, it's properly scaling and making sure that you're setting yourself up for success and don't get taken outside of all of those activities that got you where you are in the first place.
Yeah. Any other recommendation or learning experience that you want to share with the audience?
Sure. So, I mean, in what aspect, right? Are we talking about in business and investing? Um,
In I would say like in the real estate business and like how
right.
you grow a business in real estate.
I saw a tremendous shift in my business when I stopped chasing transactions and
Hmm.
started chasing relationships, right? This is a relationship-based business, and I look at it as you know my clients are my friends and my friends are my clients, right? And I want to do everything that I can within my power to ensure that I'm helping them achieve their goals, right? And when you're transaction based, that's very hard to do, right?
Hmm.
And it's you get caught up in the numbers and you lose some of that to really become front facing with the client and truly help them achieve their goal. So, becoming more relationship based and not as transactional is certainly where I would have liked to leaned in earlier in my career. Um, though it's served me well once I've adopted that.
Cool. So what's next for Bo? What are you working on, and how do you project yourself in the next 5 years?
So yeah, we've got a lot of great things going on right now. Was recently joined a national industrial team, uh, SCLM, and we focus solely on supply chain and logistics management. And that company has quickly evolved to kind of being a one-stop shop where we can take you from, it's not just the acquisition of the property.
Hmm.
We have a development program. We have a development team. We have teams that specialize in rail and ports and logistics and things of that nature. So, we can take you know, if you're in that sector of warehousing and manufacturing and logistics and things of that nature, it's not just going out and showing you what properties are available to you. Right? You go out and find the dirt, help you deliver the infrastructure and build it from the ground up and really set yourself up for success and save a lot of money in the long run as well. So, very excited about this new avenue in my career, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely. I want to start following you and see how you progress there. That's interesting. So, Bo, how can the audience work with you? How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I'm happy to share my information with David. And if you have any questions, I'm an open book. If you have questions on investing or how we can work together, my email is bfaber@kwcommercial.com. And we could set up a time to meet and things of that nature. If you're a real estate agent that's looking to take their business to the next level, be happy to talk to you what coaching looks like and things of that nature. So David will have all my contact information available to y'all, and Always happy to have a conversation.
Thank you, Bo. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely, my man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. And one last question: if
Sure.
you can think of of a song that will be like your theme song or your business theme song, what would that be?
Oh man, put me on the spot like that.
I know, right? That one is it's not easy, but
I'm just off the top of my head. Don't stop believing journey, right? I'm a firm believer that you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years, right?
Mhm.
And it's you know, no matter what your goals, what your dreams are, right? You have to decide if you're willing to become the person that is going to go out and achieve those goals and those dreams. Okay, so no matter what you want to do, you can do it, right? It's about having the discipline and truly understanding, if the goals and the life and the dreams that you're chasing, who you need to become and the discipline that you need to have in order to reach it.
I agree. I love it. Thank you very much, Bo.
Thank
Take
you, my
care.
man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.